What is up? So guess what, everybody? This is the final SAT Khan Academy set of problems. I missed the last few days and I feel so bad about it. I've had such a crazy schedule, but today, Friday afternoon, not Friday morning, Friday afternoon, we're finishing up the series of SAT Khan Academy problems. I've gone all the way through every category. Well, as of today, I've gone through every single question type. I'm so excited. If you're watching on Instagram, make sure to jump onto the YouTube stream. Go to YouTube, search for Scalar Learning, and you can watch me actually see me solve the problems live. And without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to switch over to screen share mode, and we are in. So what are we solving today? We are solving complex number problems, which is really cool. So I'm going to explain what complex numbers are in a second. Let's first go ahead and jump over to the whiteboard. Let's clear this guy, and let us begin the math gauntlet, the finale. Now, I want to hear from you guys, by the way, because I'm thinking about continuing these problem sets. I'm thinking about going through the entire batch again, because the level is supposed to go up. They're supposed to get harder the second time through. And I think that happens. There's 4 versions of each of these questions. So I might actually take it all the way through all 4 times to give you guys as much good free content as possible. But let me know what you think if you found this helpful. So what are imaginary or complex numbers? It is this. It's I. And they tell us right here, they're actually being nice, and they're telling us what I is. I is just the square root of -1. Why is that an imaginary number? Why is that not a real number? Because you cannot take the square root of a negative number. Because think about it. Square root of -1. Some people might say, well, it's 1. Well, what's 1 times 1? That's just +1. Oh, no. It's -1. Well, what's -1 times -1? That's +1 too. You cannot have a negative times, you cannot have 2 numbers that are the same, multiply each other, that give you a negative. So this is impossible. Square root of -1 in the real realm, but that's why we call it an imaginary number. So now they're asking us to evaluate this statement and see what we get down here. So we're just going to FOIL. So I'm going to rewrite this up here, plus 4i. And we kind of treat the i's as just like a variable, just like x, with one exception, but I'll get to that shortly. So let's go ahead and multiply like this. This is our FOIL, right? So first we do -8 times 1 is -8. -8 times -i, which is plus 8i. 4i times +1 is plus 4i. And then 4i times -i is -4i squared. So this is pretty good. -8 here. These guys combine. They're similar terms to 12i. But what about this guy? This is special because we already said I is just the square root of -1. So -4i squared is -4 square root of -1 squared. Now, isn't that interesting? Because what is the square root of -1 squared? It's just -1. So this ends up becoming -4 times -1, which of course is +4. Now these two are therefore like terms. They can combine. And we got -4 plus 12i. So I hope that made sense. The key with I is it gets funky when it's squared, because then all of a sudden it's not a variable anymore. Now it's like a -1. And -4 plus 12i is our answer. That's all there is to it. So let's go ahead. -4 plus 12i. And boom, we're good to go. Let's go on to question number 2. These are no calculator questions. Not that it would really even help to have one, but just saying. Let's jump into this one. Number 2. Here we are. Ooh, 4 plus I squared. Which of the following is equivalent? We gotta write it out, and we gotta FOIL, same as before. 4 plus I times 4 plus I. Now look at this. Boom. There's F first, outside, inside, and last. So let's carry it through. We got 16 plus 4i plus another 4i plus I squared. That's it. These two are like terms. So that becomes 8i. And what about this I squared? We already said I squared is -1 because it's the square root of -1 squared, which is just you remove the square root symbol, -1. Now these guys can combine, right? And we get 15 plus 8i. And that would be this guy. So they're very sneaky in this one. They give you a lot of options that maybe could be right, but All right, let's carry it on to question number 3. This is so exciting. We've almost gone through all the problems. We're just 3 problems away from having completed everything in Khan Academy, at least the first round through, so that's really cool. And by the way, please, leave a comment. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if the way I'm explaining things is unclear. It could be improved. I want to know, and I want to get better if there's room for improvement, as there always is. We got 8 minus 2i times 4 minus 2i. Let's go ahead and FOIL. Same type of problem here. 8 times 4 is 32. Minus 16i, right? 8 times negative 2i is minus 16i. Negative 2i times 4 is negative 8i. And then negative 2i times negative 2i is plus 4i squared. So what happens here? We got like terms. Boom. 32 minus 24i plus 4. And then again, I squared is just negative 1. This is just negative 4, right? Let's just rewrite it like that. Now we can combine it with this guy and this guy. And then 32 minus 4 is just 28. 28 minus 24i. That's all there is to it. 28 minus 24i. Boom. Here we go. Question number 4. 5 plus I times 7 minus 3i. This is the same type of problem, just different numbers. We're going to get a lot of good practice with these guys. All right. Boom. I'm just trying the arrows for FOIL, right? So 5 times 7 is 35. These are no calculator. So you got to be really good. Well, not really good. You got to be decent with your multiplication. Minus 15i plus I times 7 plus 7i. And then minus 3i squared. These two combine to give you 8i. Right? Negative 8i, negative 15, positive 7, negative 8. And then negative 3i squared. This is again negative 3 times negative 1. Which is positive 3, right? Negative times a negative, they cancel out. 35 and 3 combine to become 38 minus 8i. That's it, 38 minus 8i. There you have it, my friends, 38 minus 8i. Boom. Final question, question number 5. This is very exciting for me, because now I've completed the Khan Academy practice problem sets. Hope this is making sense, guys, for the complex numbers. As it didn't used to be on the SAT. It's new with the new SAT. One of the things that was added. It's not that bad, though, right? Hopefully, tell me if you think it is. Final question. Which of the following is equivalent? What are those I squared? That's what this one is all about. 4i squared plus 4. So I'm going to replace all these. I squared is just negative 1 plus 4 times negative 1 plus 4. That's it. Negative 1 plus, or we'll say minus 4, right? Because this is just a negative 4 plus 4. I'm going to do this a little out of order, but we got a negative 4 and a positive 4. These guys just cancel out with each other. It's all good. Those guys cancel out. We're left with negative 1, which is B. Let's see how we do. What? Oh my God, I got it wrong. Was that a positive 1? I squared is negative 1. Is equivalent. I just made a mistake. Wait a minute. How is that? Oh, it's I to the 4th. I didn't read it right. Oh my God, I just made a mistake. So see how I wrote here I squared? That is actually supposed to be I to the 4th. My bad. All right, so this throws in another curveball. Man, see, a lot of, I told you got to be careful. Can't get too overconfident here. So I to the 4th is actually positive 1. But the way to think about it is it's like I squared times I squared, if you want to think about it that way. So again, it's just negative 1 times negative 1. So it indeed is 1. So it's a positive 1. So it should have been A, not B. So I totally made that mistake. Got a little too quick there. If we look here, right, this is what they did. I to the 4th. They're like, oh, it's they wrote it slightly differently, but they're like, oh, it's I squared squared, -1 squared. So 1. All right. Well, hey, had to end on a fun note, right? Got to get something to think about and a lesson to learn. So hopefully that was a lesson for you guys to learn, just to not to get too hasty when things seem a little bit too fast, a little too easy. Let's go back. So now I'm going to jump off screen share, but it looks like the camera once again is glitching. I'm going to sort all this out for the next round through. I'm going to use something different than Google Hangouts to make sure we never have this glitch again. But there it is. We've gone through every single type of Khan Academy problem. They're all up on the Scalar Learning channel. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. If you like this video, you found it helpful, please like it. I would appreciate it. And lastly, make sure to subscribe if you want more math or education related information. Would love to have you subscribe and have access to all the goodies coming your way. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And now my Friday is done. I'm actually, believe it or not, going to go to bed super early tonight. So I hope you guys have a great day and a great weekend. Take it easy.